Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So, assalamu alaikum warahmatullah to everybody who has joined. I hope you're doing well and that you're ready to learn. I hope that you are happy to learn. So, remember to check your ID and your class number. Make sure that you are labeled correctly. So, by now you should have a pen and paper ready. And here is an example of a student's work. They have, been making notes, and this is what you should be doing, making notes in class. So we can start by a short and powerful dua. Rabbi zidni ilma. Oh Lord, increase my knowledge. When we do something, it's good to start with a prayer because we need Allah's help. When we do something, we need Allah's help. So I'm going to ask you to start writing out these questions. And these are often, questions you get, this is good preparation for your exam, which, that we will be doing preparation for exams. But you don't have to worry about that at the moment, but we have to learn everything that's on the page. And I would say memorize this. So I'm going to ask the student to join me and help me read these questions out, prepared by our main course leader. So this is for your benefit. So start jotting them down. Meanwhile, I'll ask if you've got your hand up, that means you are ready to join me and you're ready to read out the questions. But we'll start by reading out the hadith at the top of the page. So I'm going to ask Haris to unmute. Assalamu alaikum, Haris. Assalamu alaikum, Haris.
Walaikum salam.
How are you, beta?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah, and thank you for asking. So you can hear me nice and clearly, can you?
Yes.
Okay, and I can hear you. Okay, beta, can you read out this hadith?
Recite the Quran through the hours of the night and day. Hadith. Yusuf
Okay.
Mani. But
Imanil Bahiki. Okay, or Bahiki. So we're in now, week 4, I think. And we are learning the signs of waqf. Waqf means where to stop. Okay, waqf. Waqf means stop, yeah, where we must take a break or a pause, yeah? That's what waqf means, yeah? And then you can see we have a note here to check page 119 and 120, and that's of the Talimul-Qur'an. Okay, so Beta Haris, can I ask you to also read question number 1 for me?
yes. We have looked at the waqf signs of La, which means no in Arabic, in the middle of a verse. It means that reading must not stop or start here.
Okay, so we can see the example. The full name is this particular sign. Can you see the sign? I've got my cursor over it. I'm just hovering my cursor over it. Can you see that sign?
Yeah.
So in Arabic, it's called mamnu al-waqf. Mamnu in Arabic means no. Okay, so no stopping here. Mamnu, not allowed. Yeah, not allowed. And this is something like when we have a semicolon in a sentence, roughly, it's just I'm giving you a rough example, that when you have a semicolon, it means that what is being said after this particular sign, it should be really read together. And so it's a joiner. It's a sign to say, we must not stop here. We are not allowed to stop here. We must join. So would you like to read the Arabic part of this and show us how it's done?
الأرض تالو.
MashaAllah, very nicely recited, and you have a beautiful voice. So I'll ask you to do question number 2 as well.
There is a small circle sign which indicates a verse, and according to some, but not all scholars, if the la appears on top of this or on the square circle verse ending sign, الوقف التام, then the reader can choose to either وقف الوصل.
Okay, so we know what means where you must stop. Now, this sign here was wasl, meaning you got to join. Yeah, wasl means joining, waqf means stop. Here, what they're saying is that, see this sign here? It's like an upside down heart, right? Okay, can you see that sign?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in the olden days, there were scholars, and some scholars decided that there should be a stop here. So this sign really is the same as this, only this one has got a number in it, okay, indicating where the ayat ends, or the ayat in Arabic and verse in English, yeah, where it ends. But here, some scholars decided, or that this would end here as well. So what we would say is this is the same as this one here, waqf tam. This is a waqf tam as well. What we do is we can stop here, and we are allowed to stop here and here. Okay, that's all it's saying. Here we can stop, or if we want, here in this particular place, the reader or reciter may join. So it's up to you if you want to join. If the verse is short, you can join. If the verse is long, you can take a break. So would you like to read the Arabic part for me?
عليهم غير.
So basically you could stop here, عليهم, and then start from here, غير العالمين. Yeah, so you can read it all in one. Stop here.
عليهم غير العالمين الرحمن.
Yes, that's fine. But what we're saying is, and you read very nicely, and you've got a lovely voice, mashallah. So we'll hear you again sometime in the future. Here, alayhim, I'm allowed to stop here before this upside down heart. And I can start from ghayril alameen. I can continue from ghayrin, yeah? That's what it's saying. Or if I want, if I've got a lot of breath and, I'm a good reciter, I could say, and not stop at all. That's what it's saying. I'm allowed to stop at him or continue and finish up to here. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, Jazakumullah, Haris, and I will pull you back. And thank you so much for participating and letting us hear your beautiful voice, mashallah. Okay, assalamu alaikum, Adila. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum, Adila. How are you? Okay, Adila's not unmuting.
Walaikum salam.
Oh, how are you, Adila?
I'm fine, and you?
Alhamdulillah, thank you for asking. Would you mind reading question number 3 for me?
Okay. In fact, other signs of waqf can appear on top of al-waqf tam, and this provide a hint to the reader whether it is appropriate or preferable to continue or to stop or to continue. So there can be a choice.
Okay, so here we can see this is where the eye ends, this box. In your Quran Majid, you might see a diamond, a round circle. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. You'll have a number inside it, and this is the number. This is the number of the ayat where it ends. On top of it, there's a sign. You can see the star. Here, if the reciter wants to, if the ayat is small or the reciter wants to, they're allowed to join or stop. Okay, so we know the sign is al-waqful mutlaq. This is at the top, al-waqful mutlaq, meaning that it's a permissible stop, but not compulsory. You don't have to stop if you can carry on. Okay, where's to question 4 quickly then?
Okay, but when two marks appear on one top of the other, always follow the upper mark. They are called alamatain, 2 signs.
Right, so here we can see alamatain, yeah? There are 2 signs,
Yes.
2 mounted signs, one on top of each other, alamatain, okay? And you can see that we will follow the top sign, which is saying that we mustn't stop, we must wasl, we must join. Wasl means join. Okay, so Jazakumullah for joining me and letting me hear you. And we'll call you again sometime again in the future. Okay, so it's approaching 6 o'clock. So I will ask everyone to please ensure that their heads are covered, that you are in wuzu. You should be in a state of ablution. There should be no eating or drinking during classes. Even if you're on mute, you must listen to the class carefully and you must follow your teacher or your fellow students. And you must not be eating in classes. There should be no food, and no cutlery, sound of cutlery or food going on in the background. Sit in a quiet place and please make sure that you do not go away. You stay, by the computer. You use a computer, not a computer or a laptop, and not a phone. So in a moment, I'm going to pass you over to our course leader. Assalamu alaikum, Mrs. Orchard.
Assalamu alaikum, Mrs. Shakil. It's me today, ACL.
Okay, assalamu alaikum, Mr. Me. I'll pass the class on to you. Jazakumullah, everybody. Please stay in classes until we finish our final dua at the end. Jazakumullah. Mrs. Sami, please take over.
Jazakumullah, Mrs. Shakil. Excellent. Okay, let's share my screen with you. I won't be long. Okay, so can you see my screen, Mrs. Shakil?
Jazakumullah, yes, we can hear you. We can see your screen.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to send a request to a student, our Lajna student who's reciting today. Her name is Naima Mishal Saka. So just to double check I've got the right student. Are you doing tilawat today?
Yes.
You are. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So everybody will start with the recitation of the Holy Quran. The surah is going to be, where is it? Let me get the page right. So I was going through that before, right? So there's a preview for you. So Surah Ikhlas is the surah of this week because this is what we are memorizing. And Naima Sahiba will recite and she'll leave a gap, and that's for you to recite after her while you are on mute at home. Okay. So if I unmute all of you, I should be able to hear all of you reciting, but I won't do that. Okay, Naima Sahiba, whenever you're ready, start please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Jazakallah, Naima Sahiba, that was beautifully done. You followed all the rules and mashallah, very nicely done. Jazakallah, Jazak. Okay, so let me just quickly double check everything. Yes, okay. I'm going to show you this page, and this is a copy of the student who's been making notes. And I hope that all of you are going to do and have been doing, making notes. And if you like, I think you can ask our lovely MCL to include your work as well. So if you've been making notes, you can send the picture of your notes to your class teacher via WhatsApp, and we will try to include and display your work as well, okay? So the class is the Hifz Surah for this week, and we have underlined these for you. So can anyone remind us which rules of Noon Sakin there are? Now we say Noon Sakin rules because here's my Noon Sakin, the first one. And here is my Munawwal letter. And this week and last week, we've been covering the rules of Noon Sakin and Tanween. And we said that we've learned so far 4 rules. And can anyone remind us which rule is this one? So we have 113 students and teachers, and 17 hands are raised. So let me send a request. So if I send you a request, Assalamu alaikum, is that Wasif?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, beta, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine as well. Jazakumullah for asking. Beta, can you tell us which rule is applied here of Nun Sakin?
It's idgham.
Excellent. Beta, do you know which one? There are two types.
Is it idgham kamil?
Excellent. Well done. Are you C3 student? Wow, you
Yeah.
are. Mashallah. Well done. Yeah. So idgham kamil means that we're going to merge this completely into lam. Yes, it's going to be kullahu. What about here, beta?
Izhar.
Excellent. Wasif, you're getting a star from me. And I have a feeling that you are one of our regular students as well. So you've been listening. I can't wait to see your notebook. Okay, Jazakumullah. So in this surah, while you're memorizing it, as your hifz, you know that there are two rules of Nun Sakin and Tanween. Here we have idgham, and it's idgham kamil, and the next one is izhar. Why is it izhar? It's because after your munawwal letter, the next letter is huruful halaqi. Okay. Now then, the rules of Nun Sakin and Tanween require you to firstly identify Nun Sakin and then look at the letters that come after it, okay? And this concept is not new. I think this week Mrs. Orchard explained to you that the sound of T in English changes, and it does depend on the letters that come after it. For example, if it's followed by I-O-N, the T sound changes to shun, right? So if I write motion, for example, right? So this concept is not brand new, but your eyes needs to get used to, first of all, spotting your Nun Sakin or munawwal letter, and then you have a look at the letter that comes after it, and then you decide which rule is applied. Now, it may seem complicated to you, but once you start doing this and it becomes your habit, it'll be nice and easy. You won't have to think twice. Okay, so this is what you've done with Mrs. Shakil today. So signs of work. So this is from last week, and we are in week 5. So you had a good recap. So we said this week that la means no. La means no in Arabic. Okay, so when you see it in the middle, it means, like here, it means no stopping. So that's the first thing I want you to remember from this. So let's have a look at we're going to continue our rules of Nun Sakin and Tanween. So we yesterday introduced you to the final rule, which is Ikhfa. Okay, so now you know the 4 rules of Nun Sakin and Tanween. Okay, so before we learn these rules, we used to apply this rule to all the 28 letters of Arabic alphabets. All of them we would say for example. Yes, we never used to look at this letter, for example. We did idgham as well. But now we know that the first rule which we've learned is that this is only for 6 letters of huruful halaqi, and these are the letters of huruful halaqi known as huruful izhar. So raise your hands if you have memorized these letters. So if I was to ask you to name huruful halaqi and I hide this page, how many of you would know these by heart? 17, 18, can we have 50? So that means that 24 out of 100 students will definitely pass this. Yeah, if you get a question. 26, excellent, excellent. We're getting there, aren't we? Okay, so these rules will be nice and easy for you if you memorize the letters for each rule except Ikhfa, okay? And I'll explain that to you. So let's unmute somebody and ask you. Here we've got 6 letters of idgham, and how do we divide them between the 2 types of idgham? Okay, now let me send a request to someone.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam, is that Humail from room 7?
Yes.
How are you, beta?
Good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, good. Jazakallah for asking. You are one of our regular students and your hand is always raised, right? Mashallah, well done. Okay, beta, do you know which 2 letters are for idgham kamil? Although it's on the screen, I just want to check from here. Which one would you take?
Ra and lam.
Excellent. Now we should say ra mushaddad and lam mushaddad. Okay?
Okay.
Because your shadda is your clue that idgham is taking place. because without it, we can't do merging. But well done for knowing the letters. Now, if I was to say to you, read this for me, how would you read this? Excellent. So you didn't say hudan lil. You completely merged the nun sakin sound in here. Excellent. So this is known as idgham kamil, or you say idgham without gunna. Same thing, okay? The terminology, the Arabic terminology would be idgham kamil. And you can say in your own words, meaning merging without gunna, without any nasal sound. Okay, jazakumullahu khair. Let's ask someone else to explain idgham naqis for us. Okay, let's see if I can find any of our lovely Lajna students. Oh, Nargis Saiba.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Well, दूसरी दफा आज हमारी बात हो रही है, right? Well done for raising your hand.
Thank you.
So आप उर्दू में भी बता सकती हैं since you are in Urdu class. लेकिन आपकी माशाल्लाह इंग्लिश भी बहुत अच्छी है. So it's up to you. आपने किस लैंग्वेज में हमें बताना है कि आप हमें इदगाम नाकिस के मुतालिक कुछ बताएं.
इकदाम नाकिस में 4 हरूफ हैं, जिनमें ये है या, मीम, वाव, नून. या, मीम और लाम, वाव, नून. यरमलून इनको अरबी में कहते हैं और इंग्लिश में इनको इकदाम नाकिस कहते हैं. और ये विद गुन्ना के साथ हम इनको साउंड के साथ हम पढ़ते हैं इनको ना, यानी गुन्ने का साउंड आता है इसमें ना.
जी जी. तो यहाँ पर हमने आपके लिए एक एग्जांपल रखा है. आपने हमें पढ़ लिया था, हमें अब हमने पढ़ा है कि आपने बताया हमें कि हम किस तरह पढ़ते हैं इनको. ठीक है, जब ये 4 लेटर्स नून साकिन या मुनव्वन लेटर के बाद आए तो हमने गुन्ना करना है, लेकिन आप हमें शो कर सकती हैं कि कैसे करते हैं गुन्ना.
हाँ जी. मन याकूलू.
जी, थोड़ा सा और हमने मिला देना है इसको. माया. So in between नून और या के हमने आपको करना है गुन्ना. माया कूलू. Excellent.
मैं याकूलू.
Jazakumullah. Excellent, Nardi Sahiba. Well done.
Thank you.
Jazakumullah. Okay, finally, I would ideally ask, let's say if you got any C5 students, anyone from room 14? Nobody. That's okay. Our C3 students are very keen, aren't they? Mashallah, mashallah. Okay. Who shall I ask? I mean, this is on Ikhfa, this question. So, assalamu alaikum. Is that Usman from room 13?
Yes.
Excellent. How are you, beta?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine as well. Jazakumullah for asking. Okay, beta. Oh, I forgot Iqlab. Okay, beta, you can do this easy one. I'll ask you for someone else. Beta, what can you tell me about Iqlab?
So in Iqlab,
yeah.
So there's just one letter, ba.
Ba, yes.
And then.
So how do we read it? Do we read the noon sakin or meme sakin?
Meme sakin.
Excellent. Well done. We forget this tanween here. So when after a noun letter or noon sakin, you see the letter ba, you normally see a meme on top of this noun or noon sakin. That means that we are going to replace. Iqlab means to exchange, okay? And we are exchanging the sound of noon sakin with meme sakin. And we are going to do, how are we going to read it? Ikhfa or light gunna or no?
Light gunna?
Yeah, so we'll say, so, yeah. Excellent. And this only happens for one letter, okay? For ba, when nun sakin or tanween is followed by ba. Let me just check. Yeah. So iqlab is only for one letter, okay? That's nice and easy for you. Meme sakin will be, meme on top will be your clue. So you don't have to think about it too much. So make sure you get this one, all of you write in your exam. So everyone should get 1 mark for iqlab if you get a question. Okay, Jazakumullah. Now I would like another Jazakumullah beta, another C3 or sorry, C6 student perhaps, or Lajna students to tell us about Ikhfa. MashaAllah, we even have C2 students, that's under 7 students is ready to answer question on Ikhfa. MashaAllah. Maryam Ahmed, I won't ask you, but MashaAllah, well done. You get a start from me. Right, then who shall I ask for Ikhfa? I'm sending you a request.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum Assalam, Safa from room 8.
Ji.
Beta, can you try to explain what Ikhfa means? I'll help you as well.
It's like where there's a noon
Yeah.
with noon sakin.
Yeah.
With and it has a light gunna sound.
Yes, excellent.
And
So
if
you remember that?
And if there's one of the 15 letters of Ikhfa before it, then you make a light gunna sound.
Safa from room 8, you're a C4 student, and I'm super impressed with you, beta, mashallah. Ikhfa is not very easy for you to grasp, or considering we only did that yesterday. So far, you're getting a star from me. Jazakumullah, well done for trying. I'll quickly go over it. Jazakumullah, beta. Okay, so the good news is that you don't need to memorize the 15 letters of Ikhfa. If you've done your homework and if you learned your 6 letters of Izhar, 1 of Iqlab, and 6 of Yarmalun, then the rest of the letters you're going to do Ikhfa on, okay? And these are the exceptions, which means that when these words you read as Izhar. And as you, well, the main reason is that this letter is within the word, okay? So usually these ya is for, it has to be in the next word, okay? Because it's not much that we won't do it. Now let's look at Ikhfa in more detail. Here it is. So firstly, what does Ikhfa mean? It means to hide. What are we hiding? We are hiding the sound of N, the N sound, okay? So it happens for 15 letters. And like I said, the good news is that you don't need to memorize these. Now it is explained here as a stage between Izhar and Idgham. So it's not Izhar. We don't read the Nun Sakin clearly. We can't say Yun. And it's not Idgham because Idgham takes place with the Mushaddad letter in the next word. So here it's it's in the same word, the next letter. So what do I mean when I say Ikhfa? This is how it would sound like. Yunfiqun. Okay, I'm not saying yunfiqun like we used to say before. So that's Izhar. We can't merge. And I can't say, I am prolonging, but I cannot hold on to this sound. So I can't say yun. I won't say the N sound. I won't finish off saying the noon. Okay, yunfiqun. Okay, so if I ask somebody to unmute you, and I will underline for you this Nun Sakin, and I'll ask you, is the letter after it Ikhfa letter or not? So, sending you a request.
Hello.
Hello, is that Mehreen from room 6?
Yes.
Okay, beta, I've underlined this Nun Sakin for you. Can you tell me if Zal, this Zal, I speak the Shazi, is it our Ikhfa letter?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So that means that how am I going to recite this? Unzila. Shall I say unzila or unzila? Let me give you a third option. Unzila.
The third option.
Excellent. Super. And we haven't got much time left. We've got 1 minute. So if you can tell me this one as well.
Should I tell you how to pronounce it?
If you like. Yes, I'd love to hear your voice more.
Okay. Zila.
Excellent. What about this one? Qaf. Is it here?
Yes.
Excellent. So try Ikhfa.
Qali.
So you start from min beta. So we are hiding this sound.
Okay.
Min.
Qabli.
Excellent. Well done. Remember, for Ikhfa, we are hiding the sound of N, the Nun Sakin sound. We're hiding it. Okay, we can't say min and we can't say min. It's in between. Okay, here's Surah Al-Baqarah. And this is the homework that I would like to give you all for the half-term holidays, that wherever you are reading in your Holy Quran daily recitation, try to, first of all, your first thing to do is to identify a munawwan letter or nun sakin. Then you look at the letter that comes after it, and then you decide. Here, we've circled these in the right color for you. We haven't got much time, so I'm going to quickly go over it. So here, first of all, after this munawwan letter, I have a mushaddad lam. So I know that it's going to be idgham. And we know there are two types. Islam mushaddad, so it's going to be idgham kamil. Okay. And we got izhar somewhere here, because ayn is my huruful halaki. Here we've got ikhfa. Have I left anything? We don't have without guna, do we? Here, ikhfa. We've got lots of ikhfas in Surah Al-Baqarah, verses 1 to 8. So from now on, when you memorize this, you're not going to say tunzirhum, you're going to say tunzirhum. What ikhfa does, it beautifies your recitation. All the tajweed rules do, but your gunna and your especially your ikhfa, it beautifies it. It changes the sound from tunzirhum to tunzirhum. It allows you to include your tune, okay, to beautify your recitation. So try that and see the difference. Okay, so this was your last week's surah, and again you can do the same thing by going line by line, identify your munawwan letters and nun sakin, look at the letter that comes after it and decide. Okay, this is very important because your eyes needs to get used to this. Oh goodness, 2 minutes over. Quickly, I'm going to go through this. La in Arabic means no, it means we're not going to stop. So there are 3 scenarios. Firstly, you'll see this in the middle of a verse. It means that you need to continue, okay? And secondly, you will see the 2 alamatains, okay? The 2 signs. Here, the top one will take preference. So you will read the first one, the top one, not the bottom one. And second one is when you see la on waqf tam, here lam will not take preference. Why? Because this la is not written in all the versions of the Holy Quran. This is for us non-Arabs, okay? Because this, as you can see, is a plain text without any translation. And if I stop here, I will change the meaning of it, but I don't know that. I don't know the translation. If I don't know the translation, I should say, I wouldn't know. I might just stop here. So it's for our ease. This one, however, is on every single, I believe, version of the Holy Quran, regardless of which part of the world is printed, because Waqf Tam is a perfect stop, it's a sunnah, and we follow the actions of our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is where we take pause. So it is better that we can, so you have option here to either stop or you continue. Okay, so that's the reason. Again, if you've done your homework, if you're writing the notes, send them in, send a photo to your class teacher, and our lovely MCL will hopefully show your work, will display it. I do apologize for going over for 4 minutes, but Jazakumullah for listening. Let's go to our breakout rooms and come back for the prayer. Jazakumullah, everyone.